Laetitia Bader, who is the Human Rights Watch Director for the Horn of Africa. Laetitia, welcome to the programme. I understand it is difficult to get precise information out of Tigray. What does your organisation know?
Well, what we know is that there is still no humanitarian access to the region. And I think a lot of the warnings and the alarm bells which are being sounded by the UN community at the moment is very revealing, both of the escalation and the potential humanitarian disaster we are talking about now, but also a sense of frustration that the Ethiopian government, which has basically closed off access to the region, is not basically lifting those closures. I mean, there have been government statements along the lines that they will take measures to avert a disaster, but we aren't seeing any movement in that direction yet. And obviously what we are seeing in terms of the movement and the flight into Sudan is also very revealing that this population in the Tigray region are not able to access essential assistance as we speak.
Yes, absolutely. Apparently roads have been closed off, and the United Nations is extremely concerned about possible hunger and the lack of basic resources for people who are suffering innocently during this conflict. What about that one particular incident that the Ethiopian government itself says it is going to look into and send investigators to Tigray? The timeline is a little bit confusing, but the incident is supposed to have been one singular event, and that there is reported to have been a massacre of civilians in Tigray. Would you trust the Ethiopian government to carry out an investigation of that nature?
I think it will be essential for there to be an independent investigation into that incident, but I would say more broadly into the conduct by different actors on the ground. We are also investigating the context in which those killings happened. There is very little doubt that there were dozens of individuals who were killed, apparently mainly through blunt weapons, and there were many people injured as well. But the context and who was behind and what might have happened on that night last week is still unclear. But it is essential, given the highly divisive context at the moment and the fact that obviously there are no neutral parties. An independent investigation into this horrific incident is absolutely essential.
And do you expect Abiy Ahmed to be able to find some sort of longer-term resolution to the issue of Tigray? Because the TPLF is a strong military force. The regional leaders in Tigray are there locally. They're popular. I mean, will Abiy Ahmed need some kind of international assistance to find a longer-term resolution? Can he do it himself?
I think there is no question that the international community, regional players need to be involved in the discussion in this incredibly tense and difficult stalemate at the moment. But what is also clear is that this fits into broader problems in Ethiopia, which have been happening over the last year. I mean, the conflict and the situation with the TPLF is very unique, but we have been trying to raise alarm for over a year now in what we see is a political but also human rights crisis in many parts of the country. And I think there are some very big issues around accountability for past abuses, obviously, many of which the TPLF were implicated in, but other actors were as well, but also abuses which were committed under Abiy's administration, which really need to be put on the table right now, and for the Abiy administration to also be seen as a credible voice amongst many communities in the country.
Laetitia, really appreciate it. Thank you so much indeed. Laetitia Bader, Human Rights Watch Director for the Horn of Africa.